Welcome to Celtic State of Mind. I'm John Dykes.
I'm Kevin Graham.
And I'm Colin Watt.
And today we are delighted to be joined by Kevin McGuire. Welcome to A Celtic State of Mind, Kevin.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Kevin, at A Celtic State of Mind we love our music. And it's been prevalent throughout from the very first episode that we love our tunes. And that's why you're here. You're a Celtic man, you're a musician, and we want to talk to you about both of these things. First and foremost, let's go back to your childhood, your early Celtic memories, going to the games, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very privileged. I think that I've grown up from a very young age and I've had a season ticket. I know a lot of kids, they won't have that privilege, but my dad, my grandpa, the generations, we've always had Celtic season tickets. So I think I got my season ticket when I was about 5. So earliest memories for me is going right back to the sort of the Darren Jacksons and the early Henrik games. One game that proper sticks out though was that Inverness game at home in the late 90s. I think was it 2000? 99? Was it something like that?
2000.
That really sticks out.
Yeah.
So that's where it goes back for me. But I would say my most vivid memories, I could probably name you every game, was the Martin O'Neill era. Mm-hmm. That was when I think I would have been 8 when that started. So that was me properly really starting to care and taking everything in when I was seeing it. So yeah.
Special times, the O'Neill years.
I was lucky. I was very lucky that was
special times.
Glory hunter.
I know.
But when you talk about Inverness, I'm not sure if we've covered that game in much detail over the piece of Celtic State of Mind.
Let's not.
I mean, there's a couple of things that spring to my mind. The game was actually rescheduled because there was some kind of issue with
it was
the
a weeknight, wasn't it?
Aye.
It was a weeknight. Yeah.
The game on the Saturday was cancelled because a part of the stand came off the roof because it was really windy and wet, and our supporters club were in the little snooker club along the London Road, I can't remember. There's a wee snooker scene, it's called, if they want to sponsor us. And our bus company had went away. They had another hire, so we had to hang about. The game got called off at 2:10 and we had to hang about in the pub, which was a bit of a bind.
Such a shame.
That was a shame at that point, eh? And what I remember most about that game was the Celtic catering staff bringing the pies to the pub because they couldn't get rid of them. Then we got beat on the Wednesday night.
I know, and you just wonder, you never know what might have happened. Was Charlie Christie playing that game?
Yeah,
I think he would have been.
Yeah, I think he was.
I think so. I don't remember a lot about it. I just remember the sort of back and forth between the goals. I think there was a few goals in the first half in quite quick succession. It was one end and the other end, then I think they went back in front again. But I would only have been about 7. But that's strange that sits in my mind, that game. And one other random game that sticks in my mind was I think it was the end of that season when the manager decided just to play all the boys and we beat Dundee United. I think it was the last game of the season. We beat them 2-0 and it was like Simon Lynch scored. I don't know why I remember these games.
You're right.
I don't know why.
That was actually my first game.
Is that your first game?
Really?
My first
Larson
game.
was coming back from his broken leg.
He had to come back and he had to play at least 20 minutes
he just
for the
played.
Sweden manager to get him to pick
That's
him
right.
for the...
And you know what else, right? Sometimes your mind plays tricks on you, right? I'm sure Henrik Larsson had a moustache that day. Check it out.
he came on for Paul.
bench,
He came on for Paul Lambert.
It's interesting that you mentioned Simon Lynch. Simon Lynch, because again, we're just talking about moments in time that can completely change people's lives. But Simon Lynch, Kenny Dalglish, who was the interim manager that day, didn't want to play Lynch.
Right, okay.
And this came from his dad, obviously. Andy, I worked closely with Andy for a couple of years, and it was Tommy Burns. It was Tommy Burns that pushed for Simon to get a game.
Right.
He comes on, he scores a goal.
Aye.
He looked quite promising
Yeah,
the following season, he did. And I always remember, and it's maybe unfair, remember he fell out with Sean Maloney over a penalty
That's
at Tynecastle,
right.
remember that? I think they were both going for a hat-trick,
Yep.
and he'll be remembered for that. I think the killer game for me, going back to my youth, was the Wraith Rovers Cup final. That was the worst that I remember. I mean, the 4 and 5-1 against Rangers were grim, but the Wraith Rovers game, that was devastating.
I think my dad says that's his worst that he's been to.
Aye.
He'll be listening to this, so sorry if I'm wrong, but...
Generally, though, your Celtic supporting career has been full of success and triumph, and the Martin O'Neill era was the only time, and this includes the Brendan Rodgers era, the only time I felt we could do something in Europe. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. There was periods during Strachan's era, I think, when we got to the last 16 a couple of times, where I thought it would just take maybe another step up, you know, for us to push on. But again, we've those are the kind of, after the Martin O'Neill era, we always kind of got to a level below that, and we never ever stepped up. We never invested. We never thought, right, okay, we're actually going to try and make a mark. You're right, the Martin O'Neill era we turned up at Celtic Park in European games, honestly thinking we could beat anybody. When you look at that Porto team that beat us in Seville, look what they went on to do the next year. Look at the superstars that are in that team. So, I agree.
I think the Fortress Celtic Park is still from that era, whereas if you look over the last couple of years, it doesn't really probably have a fortress feel about it anymore. There's teams come there and get results quite easily.
I think it depends on the manager as well. I think to be quite fair, I think Lennon's done especially in his first time round, he did a good job at trying to bring that sort of difficult to beat style of football back, which I think we need to do in Europe sometimes. There was sometimes Rodgers would play and he wouldn't change his strategy, and I just couldn't get my head around that at all. I just didn't understand it. We can't go toe to toe with these teams trying to play football. It just doesn't work. So, but yeah, Martin O'Neill was very, very good at that, and the players that he had, and it was strange because I was thinking about this a few weeks ago. See when we had the likes of Sutton and Larsson and Thompson, we weren't getting to the end of a season thinking they're going to go, somebody's going to come in for them down south. They were all happy to play for Celtic. They weren't using Celtic as a stepping stone, and I think that's really changed in the last few years. It's all about, you know, how can we sell these players, where's their head at, are they wanting to move on from us? Those guys were all happy to play with Celtic.
You're right. Throughout the 8 in a row era, and this is a discussion we've had before, we have changed completely into a club who, as a supporter, you are expecting the next big money move away from the club, and you just hope that you can hold on to them that wee bit longer, but you expected Dembele to go. As much as we hated it, you got the feeling Tierney was going to go. You think Edouard probably, in the fullness of time, the next couple of years, he'll go. And that, you're absolutely right. You didn't think O'Neill's team was going to get broken up. The unfortunate thing, Kevin, I felt, was we didn't raise the bar again. After the Sutton, the Hartson, Thompson, the Lennon acquisitions, we didn't do that again, did we?
When you look at that Seville team, the wage bill for that Seville team was the same as at Everton's. By the time Martin O'Neill left, Everton's wage bill was double Celtic's. At that point, I think there's a massive change at that point. When we gave Henrik Larsson an extended contract, the £40,000 a week that he got with us, he was going to get at Man United. We couldn't match a Man United's wages now, what they would actually be able to give a player.
Exactly.
So there's that change. We were blessed at that period that we could sign. Would Chris Sutton arrive here now? Would Valharn arrive here now with their back? Alan Thompson, even Lennon. Would Neil Lennon actually have ended up here? Completely different time.
These people will still be playing in the English League, with the Celtic State of Mind. They'll still be there, but we just can't buy them.
And I think that coincides with when Peter Lawwell actually took over as chief executive, because that period came in around about 2003, 2040. He took over. And from that point on, we became a buy to sell. We pushed youth. We heavily invested in the training facilities and the youth facilities. And now we're looking at who's the next big player that's going to move on. Whereas the previous era was a case of success on the park, but that came from the fact that we had that 9 in a row era, and that couldn't happen again.
As well, what you've got to look at, when O'Neill took over, he got a 5-year budget up front, as per Dermot Desmond actually bankrolled it. And that is, he had to put, when we got the loan for the cooperative bank, it was Desmond that actually guaranteed that loan. And I think it was at that point, without that injection of cash, that era wouldn't have happened.
No.
It wouldn't have happened.
The moment of realisation was when Strachan came in, and we had Craig Bellamy. We had an option to buy Craig Bellamy after his loan.
Yep.
I think he'd have been a phenomenal Celtic player, and the fee was $5 million. And with the fee and the wages, Strachan decided that his entire budget would have been gone, and he went away and bought Zaraski, Nakamura and Boric for the price it would have cost to get Bellamy. And he was interested in Bellamy because he had managed him at Coventry, and he wanted to marry him up with Hartson up front. But there was that sea change. It was a complete change in attitude at Celtic Park.
What do you think would have been the better move? Bellamy for $5 million or the 3 that they got in?
Probably the 3 that got in.
Yeah, they weren't bad players, eh?
Oh, aye.
Imagine no seeing Nakamura.
But I think bringing them in was the first thing Strachan did was he had to break up that team. He broke up that team. Sutton was the shadow of what he was, I think, before that. There was a lot of players that just... I remember you get rid of Agathe as well, and these were guys that were really top class.
Yeah.
It's just a whole change of style.
Thompson when Strachan came in was a different player.
Yeah, a lot of them were.
Aye.
Hartson was about the only one that really got a run. If you look at Strachan's first season, Hartson is his main man.
McGeady.
And McGeady as well, yeah.
Remember Lennon coming off against the Pars, in the cup final? He was gutted, eh? He wasn't a happy man.
Doomby.
John Doomby.
We should get him on the podcast.
I might need to learn to say his name then.
John.
I'll just call him Big Man.
The first Celtic player ever with 2 hyphens in his name. There's a wee fact for you.
Wow.
It was a horrible
Has
goal.
there been any more since?
I don't know.
2 hyphens.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, we continually go on about creativity amongst the Celtic support on this podcast, and you're here because I heard your single. I heard your single at Celtic Park. I then seen you tweeting about it. So let's talk about your music and your introduction to music. What was your kind of early influences?
You probably get a lot of people saying this, but I was always brought up with music around the house. Every party that we went to, we'd have to take a guitar or something like that. And yeah, it was a massive influence. My dad played drums, played guitar, still does. So I guess it was more that side as opposed to my mum's side. She'll hate me for saying that. My sister's involved in music as well. So from a really, really young age, we were always around good music, I guess. We were brought up listening to great bands. We were in the car with my mum and dad. Yeah, from however long I can remember, that's always something that I wanted to do. I guess I only really took it seriously as a potential career when I hit the later years of secondary school. Used to dog class in the final year to sit in the music department and teach myself how to play piano. I already played drums, and I kind of played guitar well enough so that I could just play the chords in order to start writing songs. So yeah, always been there.
What interests me is from an older generation, right, Kevin. People used to form bands, get a demo tape, send it out to record companies, do a few gigs, make T-shirts, do flyers and all that kind of stuff. And there's a romanticism about that because we look back, Kevin and I, Colin, you're a wee bit younger, and that's the way they used to do it. That's the way that a band would eventually hopefully get a deal and then maybe release an album. You're of a younger generation, Kevin. How does a musician deal with the business side in the industry these days to try and get their music out there?
I think it's very difficult. I think there's advantages and disadvantages. One advantage is that anybody can now put out a song. Anybody can buy equipment for relatively cheap, learn how to record yourself, and there's platforms that you can have it up on the internet within seconds that you couldn't do. So if you want people to hear your music now, they can hear it, no problem. Disadvantage is everybody can do that. So you're now in competition with 1,000 times more people than you would have been back in the day. Because I know from stories that I've been told that it was very difficult to get a song recorded back in the day. You had to hire a massive studio and it would be done on tape and all that sort of stuff. So the amount of people that had their own songs recorded was very, very little. So yeah, it's changed massively. I think you have to just persist at it. You have to believe in what you're doing, but you also need luck and you need to meet the right people at the right time. So if you combine talent and meeting the right people, I think you'll be all right. You'll get there. But it's changed. It's changed massively.
A massive boost for yourself must have been going on tour with the one and only Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. That's an incredible development.
So John McLaughlin, who I know you've had on this, I just started working with him at the beginning of the year. We started writing some songs together. He was like, yeah, I don't know if you know this, but Rod's called me up and he wants me to go on tour with him. And I'm like, right, okay. Is it going to happen? He's like, I think it's going to happen. I've had the contract in. So he's like, do you want to write some songs with me for the tour? So I wrote some songs with him, ended up doing some of the recordings for him, like some of the backing vocals and all that that are coming out in the stadiums that they've been playing in. So John was like, right, I want to take you with me on this tour just so that you can get used to like being behind the scenes and meet people and network as much as you can. So that's how it kind of came about, and it was a lot of fun.
John, it's such an interesting story, eh? The way that I guess he was a struggling musician in bands, trying to do that thing.
He's got some story, man.
Next thing you know, just like exploded.
It's nice hearing that though, because when I'm coming in, you were talking about some Celtic fans, some musicians that will kind of just try and latch on to the club, but that's not the case for me. It's just luck that at this point in my life, two things are kind of coming in together. Yeah. Like I'm a Celtic fan first, and if the club can help me in any way, then great. And it was the same with John. You know, it's not. You get a lot of these Celtic fans that will try and use the club to try and put themselves out there as musicians, and I'm not dissing that, but that's not what I'm from. That's not my story.
Do you remember back when Celtic used to have the sort of half-time gigs? Just before the game gigs?
Yep.
What a boy I was in school with, his brother's band was called The Soviets. Nice plug. And they played their song called Good Times in front of the crowd. And if you look at the video for that, it's actually got the bits from Celtic Park in it. So it was good at the time, but I think that stopped sort of about the time we got the electronic boards in, which would have been about 2010, 11. But that's something that could come back into it.
What do you feel about that, Kevin? Obviously your track's been played at Celtic Park when you've been there.
I can't knock them at all, man, if they're supporting me and they're playing my records. So, you know, I think it's fantastic what they've done for me, and not even getting it played once, but, you know, getting played a few times. If that's what they want to do every half time, then I'm totally happy with that. 'Cause I can tell just what you're thinking. You should start to look my way. The night is young, so let's try to make something of it. Before the sun goes down on us, you win my heart. Couple whiskeys at the bar, rock star on the dance floor playing the guitar. Don't know much about you, but I'm loving what I've seen so far, and I bet I'm gonna love everything that you are.
Is it good for the wallet?
I don't know, I'll find out.
It's an incredible. I mean, you've just been speaking about going as a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
You're standing there at Celtic Park and your song is playing on the tannoy, as I'll call it, because that's what it used to be called. And The Night Is Young. Tell us a wee bit about that song. It's brought you to my attention. It will have brought you to a lot of other people's attention. Is this a turning point for you, and how's that kind of changed your progression? You've obviously got involved with John, who's a great songwriter. Just tell us a wee bit about how that's kind of upped the ante.
Yeah, you're right. It feels like a brand new chapter in what I'm doing. I wrote it about a year and a half ago, actually, before I kind of started working with John. But when I started working with him at the beginning of the year, the one thing he said to me is, right, you're going to lie low for a few months, you're going to get the songs written, you don't have to put anything online, don't worry about that, but what we need to do is we need to make sure the next record you put out is going to be the one that's going to get people's attention. So I actually had another single ready to go, and just to press go on, it was going to be out there, and he was like, nah, you can't do that, it's not a first single. So that kind of guidance in its own has been phenomenal for me, just to listen to that and take a step back and get the writing done and get the production done for this single. And, you know, everything that he's told me about doing the sort of upbeat one that will try and get people's attention, have fun with it, seems to have worked. So it's just about building on that for me now with the next one, which is almost ready. So, yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
When we had him on here, the list of people he had worked with was quite incredible. And Simon Cowell now has a Celtic strip in his office, courtesy John. So good on you, John.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time when he was telling you that, it says you need to hang back? Obviously you're young and ambitious and you've got that wee bit of energy about you, and have you ever just been wanting to go, I'm going to put this on YouTube anyway? It was
difficult, yeah. A few guys, I don't know if you follow me on social media at all, but I'm on it quite a lot. I have to be on it quite a lot. One new follower for me is potentially one new person listening to my music, so taking that time out and not posting for like 4 or 5 months was really, really difficult at the beginning of the year. But you have to kind of think of the bigger picture and why you're doing it, and if you can take a few months out and sort of regather your thoughts and make sure that the product is right, unless the product's right, no one's going to want to do anything with it. So it was difficult, but I knew that come the summer, you know, with writing for the tour and the experience of getting to go along on that, and with my single coming out, I knew in the back of my mind what was going to happen and how happy I would be when it all came out. But it was difficult to start the year, having to take a step back and say, look, this isn't working. Parts of the product is there, but it's not there as a whole, so get it right.
Let's go back to the Rod Stewart tour. Okay. I mean, I remember, and this isn't a plug for the book because you can't buy it anymore, but when I was writing the Andy Lynch book, when I was writing Andy's book, he told me some brilliant stories about going out in the town with Rod Stewart and various other Celtic players, which we had to edit out the book, right, because it was proper rock and roll shenanigans, right? So you've been on tour with Rod Stewart. Tell us a wee bit about that. He's slowed down in his old age?
No. No, it was some laugh. the one thing I really took from him is just how much he loves Celtic. Like, we were playing in Newcastle. Well, I wasn't playing, obviously. John was on the stage, and it was during the Sarajevo away game. So it was in the dressing room. It was just me and Rod that were watching it on Celtic TV. And I think we'd gone 2-1 up. He was like, Rod was getting ready to go on the stage. He was like, right, if we score again, you need to tell me. It was just me and him watching it. And I'm like, I'm not going to run on the stage. I'm not doing it. He was like, right, well, you tell, I think he's one of his assistants, and they'll come on. I was like, right, okay. So I took the iPad out to the side of the stage. We all watch him. So once John and that have been on, we all will stand and watch Rod. So me and John are watching the game on the iPad, and Scott Sinclair scored, I think, to make it 3. And I was like, John, he's told me that we need to tell him. So John was like, right, I'm going to just do this. So I knew it would be a moment to capture, so I just whipped out the phone. I don't know if he's managed to see the video. And he honestly stopped singing for like 5 seconds so that he can get it right in his head that Celtic have scored the 3rd goal, and you see him at the side of the stage. So, he's I know people say a lot of things about him, but there's one thing that you can't knock, and it's just how much of a mad Celtic fan he is. He really is. And the tour was a lot of fun. I think I drank for about 20 days straight. It was show, bed at probably 4 or 5 a.m, on to the next one. I don't know if I'll get into trouble for saying that. I'm not speaking for anybody else, I'm just speaking for myself. Everyone does different things, but it was a lot of fun. And do you know what? He's still 100% got it. He's not slowing down at all. His performance is unreal. He's really top quality, and you see why he's been doing it for so many years.
Was he the type of person that you could use to your advantage in terms of trying to extract some information from him in regards to the music industry? And was he good in terms of the guidance that he might be able to offer you? Yeah,
I think in particular the guidance that he's given John, and then John's sort of passing down to me. I think it's very rare to meet people who are at the kind of top of the industry that are willing to help others and just talk to others like as if they're human beings. And he is one of those people that will be happy. He wants to help people, and I think that in itself is a massive life lesson, no matter what industry you are in. Like how, if you become the most successful person in it, always be nice to people and always try and help people. So any sort of problems or anything, say, if anything comes up that we can't quite get a contact for, or we can't quite make a breakthrough, I'm sure if John lifted the phone to Rod would help him out.
It's a great position to be in, and at an early stage of your music career, relatively early stage, it's great exposure for you as well. I wasn't aware you were behind that viral video, but I'm pretty sure, did that go out in Rod's, or did he retweet it, or did it go directly from Rod, or was it John?
Oh, I can't remember. It was on my Instagram story. Then I think maybe John put it on his Twitter, and I think Celtic retweeted it. Aye, no, it was funny. It was funny.
How did you become a solo artist then? He says that you kind of picked it up after secondary school, and what influenced the choice of music that you make? The style of music, which is, some people might see as a bit of a left field for such a young guy.
It is, yeah. People ask me all the time, how do you get into country music? And it's country pop music, so it's a more modern take on country music. I always tell people it's like country style songwriting, it's serious songwriting, but instead of synthesizers, we'll have banjos and we'll have lap steels and stuff in the music. So I don't know why, it's always been something that I've listened to from a young age. I remember the days of, I don't know if you remember LimeWire. It was that thing that you would download illegal music from. Sorry, shouldn't be doing that. But I'd come home from school when I was like 13, 14, and I would go on that and I would just type in country music as the genre, and I would just keep getting this like country pop music that I fell in love with, and it just hit me, and it's something that I always wanted to do. Why am I a solo artist? Because I can't work with anybody. Nah, I'm not that bad. When I'm writing songs, I know what works for me, and I'm very particular about the sound. I like having pretty much full creative control, even in productions, like music production. I'll never let somebody just go and produce the whole record for me. I'll work with them, I'll do bits, they'll do bits. So I think that's the sort of main reason why solo and not in a band. People have said to me, why did you start a band? But I guess I think I've got a clear vision of what I want to do, and yeah, working in a band with others would obviously change that. You'd have to kind of meet in the middle somewhere.
When I was growing up, my mum was well into country and western music at that time, so I grew up listening to Tammy Wynette, Loretta Lynn.
Right.
So one of the things that always stood out to me was the storytelling in those songs.
Yeah.
Is that something you want to keep? That's a Scottish thing. There's loads of Scottish songwriters that tell stories in their songs. Do you think it's a natural fit with your Scottishness?
I think so. I think a lot of people forget that country music, was influenced from sort of Scottish and Irish and Celtic music, there is that massive connection. Storytelling is what I like to do, whether it's about me or whether it's about other people. I think it's the thing that really hit me first about country music. I always say that country music for me is like emotional pop music. It's got a proper depth and a proper meaning to it. And I don't know if you guys are aware, there's country shows that happen, and it's called In the Round, and what it is, it's just a songwriter's session that you go to, so it's like a gig, but there's 4 songwriters on the stage, and they'll play a song each, and they'll just go round and round, so they'll tell you a bit about why they wrote the song, and then they'll just play it like on the guitar or on the piano. And it's only really country music that as a genre that I see that happening in. But it's amazing just to go and listen to why people have written the songs.
That sounds great.
I think it's incredible that even nowadays there's a market for that kind of music, because if you look at the likes of the early Taylor Swift sort of music, Chris Stapleton, Gavin DeGraw, there's people like that.
You've got the names.
But I mean, there is a market for that, and it is even recently in the charts. Nas X making it to number 1 shows that there is a space for country music and nowadays. So the progression from listening to it, from being brought up, as Kevin was saying, his mum and dad, my mum and dad, my uncle, we were all into it, but there's still a space for it in today's music, and I think the fact that it's lasted throughout that time is just incredible.
It's the quality of the songwriting. That's what it comes down to. It's the quality of the songwriting.
I think the biggest struggle in the UK right now is that it's about getting younger people into country music. Artists like Johnny Cash and Dolly Parton and stuff, they're fantastic, but people need to understand that's not what's topping the charts over in America right now in country. It's honestly a much younger, more pop like vibe. You look at country concerts in America, it's all filled with these teenagers that over here would be going to see One Direction. So that's the biggest struggle, I think, for country music artists in the UK. We're trying to build it, we're trying to get it out to a younger generation, but it's going to take a bit of time. But it's certainly grown. You've got massive music festivals like Country to Country and stuff like that are bringing the top artists from America, and they're giving the UK artists a chance, and it's getting out there, but there's still a long way to go.
Again, Colin, you're too young for this, but Kevin and I will remember the advent of the music video. I remember staying up to watch Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller. When was that? 1983. It was a big thing. It was a big deal, introducing the music, the visual into the music. It's now pivotal in the role of getting your brand and your music and your name out there. I often wonder, listening to people like Noel Gallagher, who hates making music videos, but it's a necessity. What's your experiences of actually making the video? Because I've been watching your videos on YouTube.
I love it. I do love it. I think it allows you to tell the story, like we were talking about. It's a massive stress beforehand. It is, because you need, if you're funding it yourself and you're doing it yourself, then you need to cast it, you need to write the storyboard, you need to get somebody who's going to come in and do it. And anyone that knows me, I don't like to do things half-arsed, so if I want to make sure that the quality's there as well, which obviously costs more money, but it's worth it, because it's like any product that you're putting out, it's going to be there forever. So it's great. It allows you to tell the story. It's great looking back on it, and I think people nowadays, they want a visual to go with the track. So anything that you can do to put yourself out there more as a music artist and to get more people's attention, then you've got to do it.
Is it more geared to YouTube and that now? Because when we were growing up, it was MTV, and all of a sudden you had all these MTV channels, But now I don't know anybody that watches music television unless you're in the barber's getting a haircut. And so it's all geared to more Instagram, YouTube views and that.
Yeah, I think what you were saying earlier, when you're coming off Twitter for such a long time, it is such a powerful tool. I mean, if you take a look at Lewis Capaldi, everything he does on Instagram or what he does on Twitter, it gets so much traction. So it is a new way of getting your music out there. Even 10-15 second clips, people then go, I need to hear the rest of that song, because I don't think there's as much attention as you're saying to like some music television or even radio nowadays.
You're in industry, Kevin. Is that the case? Is it more focused to that, or is MTV and that still a big thing, especially in America?
They're a big thing. I mean, I can't knock them if because in case they ever want to put my video on it, so I need to be careful what I say. But even YouTube now has gone down slightly in the last year or two. Facebook, if you want a video out as fast as possible, you put it on Facebook, because putting a video on YouTube and posting the YouTube link on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram, it doesn't play. You have to then click to go and click that external link and go and watch it on YouTube. So people are that lazy nowadays that they can't even be bothered doing that. So we had a big debate when I was putting that video out a couple of months ago. Me and John were talking about what's the best way that we can get as much traction as quickly as possible. And I'd never done this before, but we put the entire music video on Facebook as a Facebook video, so no external links. As soon as people go on Facebook, the whole video's there and they can watch it. So yeah, it's even changed. People have become so lazy, and I'm guilty of it, is that you can't even click on an external link anymore to go and listen to it or watch it somewhere else. So yeah, it's changing all the time. Honestly, next year there'll be something different.
It's incredible.
Honestly,
it's incredible.
Yeah.
And I know I'm banging on about what it used to be. It used to be that you either heard the song on the radio or read about it. You actually read about it without listening to it, Kevin. And then you would go to a shop and hunt it down, and sometimes the shop didn't even have it. I mean, it was a bit of dedication to get the music that you wanted, but now we're in an environment where people don't even want to click on a link.
Yeah.
That's quite frightening.
Go easy on me, 'cause I get hurt too easily. I wear my heart for everybody to see, and then they take it from me. And all I want is a chance for me to show you just how long we could last. So can you take my hand and say goodbye to the past? Or is this as good as it gets? You and me just being friends.
So Kevin, what do you think helps the music more? Do you think it's getting out on social media, or do you think that there's still a thing about gigging live, like when you go out and you gig live? Because if you go through Glasgow City Centre any Saturday or Sunday, there's lots of buskers and there's lots of great acts. Do you think there's still the power in people hearing your music just by passing by or by doing your gigs, or do you think that it's really moved on to like putting it out on social media?
I think a bit of both. I think there's great quality in getting people to and doing gigs and getting people to hear your music for the first time live at a gig. It's a great way to pick up fans if you're good live. If you're not good live, then that's not what you want to be doing. I think it depends what genre you're in as well. Doing country music, it very is much about people that want to go to gigs, and it's one of the only genres I think in the world left that people still buy physical albums. You look at the charts over in America and the country charts, and people are still buying like units and physical CDs. So it depends what genre you're in. If you're in a more dance genre, then online, SoundCloud, that kind of stuff might be the way to go. But for me, there's definitely benefits in both.
When you look at the touring with Rod Stewart, the success of your single, having it played at Celtic Park, which must have been like a boyhood dream. What's next for you? Have you got any big shows that listeners to A Celtic State of Mind can come and check out what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm doing a massive Glasgow show on the 29th of November at Broadcast. So John will be doing the Rod Stewart gig at the Hydro the night before and the night after that. So the night off in the middle, John was like, right, you're putting on your own gig. Get everybody down to that. So there's still tickets left if anybody wants to come. Obviously I'll invite you guys along as well. But it's Friday 29th. I think we play the night before, I think at Celtic Park in the Europa League. The night before that. So the most important thing is to see when I'm booking a gig, I make sure that it's not on the night that Celtic are playing. It's so bad for me to say that, but it's true. Pretty much because, I want to go to the game, but also half the audience. So yeah, 29th of November, if you're free, it would mean the world to me if anybody wanted to come along and hear the music live.
And again, we will put the link to the ticket page on the player wherever you're listening to the Celtic State of Mind. And it's something I'd love to come along to. It's interesting though, you're talking about planning things around Celtic. You do that your whole life, don't you? The fixture list. And also when you're talking about certain moments in your life, you always remember a game. You always remember where Celtic were at that time.
You do.
What Kevin started doing, again, to merge the music into Celtic, is he talks about an album, and he talks about what Celtic were doing at that time as well, and he can relate an album to how Celtic were performing at that time. I think there is a unique aspect to the Celtic support which is brimming with creativity, so much so that loads of other clubs kind of steal our ideas. And to be honest, Celtic are good at pilfering ideas as well. We've done it for years. Green Brigade have stolen quite a lot from St Pauli. But what they say though is, you can steal something and you're a thief, but if you steal it and make it your own, you're a genius. So we'll give the Green Brigade a wee bit of credit for that, because they're getting a hard time at the minute. What do you think it is in terms of the Celtic support that sets us apart in relation to songs, tifos, even humour? We do seem to have a huge amount of creative minds in the Celtic support.
We do. It's strange because I'm not. I don't know whether it comes from we're talking about music and talking about the Scottish and Irish background and the songwriting and that kind of thing. It's very traditional. I'm sure a lot of the boys that do make up the songs, they'll have grown up with the guitars getting passed around at parties and stuff as well. So I'm not kidding. It's probably all comes from that sort of Scottish Irish heritage. Yeah, I think when you take a step back, you realise how privileged you are to support the team that everybody, apart from probably one club in the world, says is the best, is the best support. So we've never known anything different. So yeah, I've never really thought about how creative all the songs are and all that sort of stuff, because it comes as you just get them every week and you don't know anything, you don't know anything different. You don't know how bad it is down south when they're all bumping our tunes. Yeah.
I've said this plenty of times. I reckon it comes from because we are more than a football club. We are an identity. We've got our own identity. We've got a culture, and a lot of football clubs just haven't got our backstory. And I think it's the backstory which gives us this creativity, because it's something more. It really is something more. And a lot of, I think there's a bit of rebelliousness about us as well, and I do think there's that sparks creativity. Like you're saying, you were dogging the school. Like there's just wee things like that.
Songs have always appeared in rebellion, haven't they? I mean, you look at protest and the protest songs. You look at slavery in the cotton fields songs. There's songs everywhere. The miners' strike is what I remember. We were always singing. So I think there's a rebellious aspect, Kevin, without a doubt, particularly with the music.
Oppression develops creativity, for me anyway. It does. I can remember knowing an oppressive time, and at this precise moment in time. But I do think the guitars getting passed around at parties comes from that time when there was nothing else.
Yeah, the songs that was a release for, that was the way to emphasise how they felt at the time. It was a way to come together, and it still is. It's relevant nowadays as well. Yeah,
and it's a celebration, of course. It's community. It's part of the community being in a football club. I think what I hate is the generic songs that you could sing at any football park. Celtic didn't have that. We don't sing a generic football chant. We've got individual chants, and obviously the ones with Irish heritage mean something to so many people. Not exclusively, because we're not about that, but they mean so much, and there really is a root to that. And I think that was what was interesting about talking about Rod Stewart being a big Celtic fan. He really doesn't give a second thought to how that might upset people, and I thought that was great when he recorded Grace. And I know Grace has been so overplayed, and it's probably getting played right now in every bar in Glasgow, every bar of a certain type in Glasgow. But I love the fact that he was able to, at the height of his kind of popularity, just whip out a song like Grace and that type of thing. Is that something, Kevin, that you need to be aware of kind of earlier in your career? You can't be so keen to stick your colours on the mast.
Yeah, definitely. I've had this discussion with a lot of people recently as well, that I have to be very, very careful. I'm a Celtic supporter, I don't hide that. But at the end of the day, I've got people that support all teams that will come and watch me play music. And at the end of the day, that's my career. And anybody that wants to come and watch me play, then I don't care what team they support. If they're going to champion me and they're going to enjoy my music, then that's fine. So I am careful what I put online, just so that you don't alienate people. I think if you're Rod Stewart and you've made it and you can sell out stadiums, then you can kind of do what you want. But to be fair to him, he's very good. I think it was maybe the Aberdeen day or something like that he did make a joke about, it was great having, some of the fans out there were Rangers fans. He was like, it's great to have these along. So I can't remember exactly what he said. So it's more about the way I see Celtic and the way that people support Celtic. It's always about the love for our club rather than the hatred for anybody else. And I think that's something that you don't get from other clubs. I don't have to say names. There's a lot of hatred from other clubs towards other clubs, but that's not what it's about for Celtic. We love Celtic. We don't care about any other club. The songs that we sing aren't about hating other religions or hating other football clubs or anything like that. So at the end of the day, if all you're doing is champion your team and not talking about any other team, not slagging any other team, then I don't really think there's a problem with it at all.
One interesting thing that I've found when I'm with groups of Celtic fans, events for example, is, previous to February 2019, there was one name that you knew would be received with boos and hisses, and it was Le Petit Merde Judas Morris Johnston. But now you can add another name onto that, because every single time, wherever I am in Scotland, the name of Brendan Rodgers is mentioned. It is received with the same reaction as Mo Johnston, right? Now, obviously, we were speaking about, Martin O'Neill years and brilliant times, Brendan Rodgers brought brilliant times to Celtic Park. What's your lasting impression on Brendan?
I need to watch what I say, because I might drive back in the car and then regret what I'm going to say. The years that he was here was fantastic. He brought massive success to the club. I wish he could have changed his style in Europe. I think we were never going to do anything or progress. He could have been here for the next 10 years and it would have been the same. Domestic bliss, but probably not anything in Europe. I think the way he left tells me that he was in it for himself, and I think he'll always be in it for himself. I think if the next job pops up down south, he'll be on his bike from Leicester and moving on. And if that's the way people want to be, then that's fine. I wouldn't have left Celtic on the cusp of a treble, but that's my opinion. I think that week that Neil came in, and I remember one of my favourite away games I think I've ever been to was the 2-0 Hibs game on that following Saturday. For me, that was the game that won us the treble. That week won us the treble, going away and beating Hearts in the last minute and beating Hibs in the Scottish Cup away. That was the week that said, right, we're going to do this, and if Brendan wants to go, that's fine. We've got enough here.
That game was fantastic at Tynecastle. I remember being at it last season, and the fact that it was like a last minute winner as well, and everyone had just clubbed together, and it was weird getting into the stadium and looking, and you're going, but Brendan's not there, and Chris Davies isn't there, and who's taking and it didn't look as if the team were organised to that point. But then they went out in the park and they just played their hearts out and scored in the last minute winner. And I think I started in row E and finished in row F. I don't know, I just get thrown about. It was brilliant. It was the best game away from home last season.
One of the best moments for me during the Brendan Rodgers era, because we'll look back on it as a Brendan Rodgers era, and credit will be given, it will need to be given. One of the best images is a guy we've had on here called Kevin Miles, who did the charity song for the foundation. And when the Celtic players rush up to the fans, he's there. You can see him, he's jumped on them. So that image will be shown for the rest of time. That's going to be one of the iconic images of Celtic history. And there's Kevin Miles diving in with a big cheesy grin, with a raging hangover, I think he said as well. But no, it's just interesting how, like that, your perception of somebody can change, and so many Celtic fans are still hurting from the way that Brendan left. And I was told just last night from someone who works at the club that he didn't make contact with anybody at the club following his departure, which shocks me. Just common courtesy, he didn't get in touch with the people that he'd lauded, the people he'd worked with on a day-to-day basis. No phone call or anything like that, just to say bye-bye even, from a team of staff that he'd been working with for 2.5 years. And I think that rankles the Celtic support, because it's not the right way to do things, is it?
No.
I think what Kevin's saying is right. The next move he gets, it'll be for himself. Whether the Manchester United job or the Tottenham job, if he's ever considered for that, he'll not hang around at Leicester. He wants to be at the best that he can be, and there's no doubting that he's a very good manager. He's had success everywhere he's went, but to me, I don't think he's got any loyalty to anybody. I
think we've reaped the benefits of that ambition, and that's the way I look at it. I look at what he's brought to the club in the backroom with the science and the analytics and stuff like that, and I think Lenny's reaping the benefits, and I think John Kennedy, Damien Duff are reaping the benefits. I think the players are reaping the benefits, and the way that he left, is always going to stick in my throat, but what he's left there is fantastic. Agreed. And it was that ambition that's built that, and sometimes we just need to go, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no much else we can do apart from time's a great healer. I'm already over him.
That's what I'm saying. You're saying that people are hurting over it still. I'm not. I don't care. He's gone.
No.
Yeah,
he's gone.
I think we're building a better team now than we had when he left. So I don't give him a second thought anymore.
I just hope Leicester get into the Champions League and we meet them next season. That'd be a good laugh. Listen, Kevin, it's been an absolute pleasure to spend an hour of your time on A Celtic State of Mind. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Kevin.
Cheers.
Thank you.
A Celtic State of Mind can be found at axom.net. We're sponsored by FansBet, the betting company by fans for fans.